Välkommen till Studio Cordial. I det här avsnittet möter jag Tom Johnstone. Han har varit på SKF i 38 år och 12 år som dess koncernchef och vd. Det är en hyllad ledare, han har blivit årets ledare och när man pratar med andra människor om Tom Johnstone så omvittnar de en enormt stor respekt för hans ledarskap och person. Jag blev väldigt berörd av det här samtalet. Jag fann det inspirerande och stimulerande och det sätter också fingret på hur svårt det är och vad det som krävs, vad mycket det är som krävs för att utveckla ett verkligen vasst ledarskap i de här tiderna som vi lever när stora krav på förändring ställs på princip alla organisationer. Centralt i Toms resonemang när man ställer honom frågan om vad det är som krävs för att lyckas att leda organisationer genom stora transformationer när det är mycket som måste ändras är att han säger att man måste lyckas koppla ihop varför, vad och hur. Och traditionellt sett kan man säga att alla fattar att man måste förstå vad och varför, men han lägger till som sin nyckel detta med huret. Att huret är det som kopplar människors verkliga vilja att vara med och bidra även till sånt som de kanske själva inte fullt ut känner sig bekväma med. Alltså det är genom huret vi kan skapa energi och få människor att flytta in i och flytta med i förändringen och vara bidragande i den här förändringen. Tom är utomordentligt tydlig med mål och måluppfyllelse, men han är också tydlig med att ledarens uppgift är att ge energi, att gå in i möten med människor, med andra människor, oavsett vilka de här mötena är, och alltid säkerställa att det är mer energi ut ur mötet än det var in i dem. Alltså att på något sätt skapa de här energierna genom att koppla ihop vad, varför och hur är bärande i hans resonemang. Han har tagit en lång karriär för att utveckla de här insikterna och det är klart att nu när han sitter i styrelser och har lämnat SKF och får ett annat perspektiv så kan han se det här ännu tydligare. Men det är intressant att han då med perspektiv också förstår att det kan vara en ännu mer komplext utmaning än vad man kanske tänker sig när man är mitt i det. Så det är ett spännande resonemang och det är fantastiskt att få ta del av hans erfarenheter och tankar kring vad det är som krävs av oss som individer och av oss som organisationer och av oss som ledare och affärsutvecklare för att vi ska lyckas. Jag hoppas att den här dialogen med Tom ska fortsätta, att vi ska möta andra som kan både reflektera och lägga till perspektiv. Men det känns som en jättebra start för att fundera vidare kring frågan vad är det som krävs för att vi ska lyckas med våra ledare och våra transformationer. Om du tycker att det här är spännande frågor och känner att du vill läsa någonting eller ta de här perspektiven vidare så vill jag rekommendera 2 böcker. Den ena är Simon Sineks bok Leaders Eat Last som handlar väldigt mycket om, man kan säga att det kopplar till den gyllene regel som Tom också tar upp, nämligen att man ska bete sig mot andra så som man vill att de ska bete sig mot en själv. Det är ju en väldigt basal regel, men den är något som kan appliceras i verksamhet. Och Simon Sinek har också skrivit mycket om varför och det viktiga av att det finns något betydelsefullt som vägleder inte bara organisationer utan också dess ledare, för det är de som sätter an tonen. Så den kan jag varmt rekommendera. Jag vill också rekommendera en bok av en svensk författare som heter Pontus Wadström som har skrivit boken Strategi, ett verb. Och det som är intressant med Pontus bok är att den kopplar ihop beteendevetenskap med den lite mer hårdföra traditionella skolan kring affärsstrategi. Jag personligen tror att det är just de 2 dimensionerna som måste kopplas ihop när man ska utforma sitt ledarskap, när man ska utforma de riktlinjer längs vilka man ska driva affärs- och företags- och verksamhetsutveckling. Så det är 2 lästips. Nu hoppas jag att ni ska bli inspirerade eller lika inspirerade som jag blev över samtalet med Tom Johnstone. Och så ser vi till att vi fortsätter den här dialogen. Men först ska vi lyssna på Tom. Mycket nöje. Hello. Today I'm here with Tom Johnstone, former SKF CEO who's been with the company for 38 years and 12 years as celebrated, I must say, CEO. Admired not only within your organization but also from many other people I know that. I'm really happy to have you here.
Delighted to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And today's theme is sharing thoughts on what it takes to make companies and organizations and people great. And I'd like to start to hear your thoughts on this. I mean, there's so much talk about this ever-changing business landscape. All companies have to adapt. We are afraid of being Uberized and that most companies will disappear because the change is so hard. But what do you see as the most important drivers for this changing business landscape?
I think we as consumers and we as people within businesses, we are becoming more and more demanding. We're looking for change. We're looking for new solutions. We're looking for new ways of doing things. And why is that coming about? I think globalization, getting access to much more information. I think universal connectivity. People live with data and access to data all the time. I think all of these things are driving the need to change and driving new ways of doing business and new products and new solution development.
What I think is interesting with what you just say is that everyone is so technology focused these days. They talk about digitization, new technology that will wipe companies away. But you're saying that it's not so much about the technology as such. It's actually how we as individuals and customers, how we have changed the way we act.
Yeah, I think that's critical. We've changed the way we act, but also I think what digitalization can do, it's an enabler. It enables new ways of doing business. It enables new ways of running companies and driving the things forward. So I think you look at digitalization as much of an enabler in what we're doing, but it still has to have a receiver within it.
You have managed SKF through some tremendous change, I would say, reforming it in many ways. Are you a positivist? Do you see the future as a bright one for traditional companies in a sense?
Absolutely.
You
absolutely.
are?
I'm absolutely positive. And I think, take the digitalisation again as we were talking about, I think we're facing probably the most exciting time in industry and manufacturing, leveraging that technology to help us do things in a better, faster, more efficient way, but also deliver more to our customers. So I think this is really the most exciting time in industry.
Which is a very optimistic and positive message, I would say, that we have the means. Now the big question is, how should we use them then? What do we need to do in order to improve and make our organization and companies out there great?
I think there's lots of things. I think we as leaders have got roles to play in that. And that's when I look upon, what do we need to do? We need as leaders to engage, commit, and energize our organization. And what do I mean by each of that? Engaging, being very clear what we want to do, why we want to do it. This is our vision, this is our strategy, these are our priorities just now, and telling people why. We need to cut costs because the market's going down. We need to invest in technology because this opportunity is coming. We need to change our business model. The what and the why engages people there with it. The how you do it is very, very important. So to me, it's critical as a leader to do what, why, and how. That way you engage people with the what and the why, but you commit them with the how. How do you make a 35,000 feet strategy relevant to a man in the shop floor in Argentina? That's how you do things. And I also think that I have a basic philosophy. Treat others the way you wish to be treated yourself. And I think that's important with the how. So to me, if I look at it, the what and the why, the engagement, engages their brains. The how gets their heart. Right.
So it's about connecting, I guess, these different layers, right? So you need to understand, but you need to encapsulate it all the way through, internalize it, and the only way you can get there is actually by knowing how. How does this impact me, and how can I be part of taking us from here to there? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And the how, then you get people committed because you get their heart with you. And if you've got the combination of the brain and the heart, then you get the organisation. And you get 40-odd thousand people, as we had in SKF, all moving in the same direction. That's powerful. That is extremely powerful. And I think that's the key role you've got as a leader.
35,000 people?
Over 40,000.
Over 40,000. But how did you do it? It sounds easy. It sounds, you can connect. And once you said, it's sort of the how that you connect to the heart,
yes.
Right? Which I think is a brilliant way of putting it. But how do you do that in practice then?
Being visible in the organisation, being out there, helping them with their customers, helping them with suppliers, being visible in the organisation, making the what and why relevant to them, and helping take away the obstacles that they've got there. And I also had another thing I mentioned earlier: engage, commit, and energise. One of my objectives always was, after every meeting I had with employees, they should have 1 or 2% more energy than they had before the meeting there. And just imagine a couple of percent more energy, 1,000 more people in an organisation like SKF that you've got going for that. So you must energise the organisation.
I like that. It's a very simple one, right? But if you thought of that in every meeting that everyone has in an organisation, and their main task is to give energy and not to withdraw it and take it away. I think that's an excellent way.
How many meetings do you go to, Linus, where you feel at the end of the day,
I know.
Yeah.
It's
just
consuming.
imagine the other way.
It's consuming.
Yeah. But if you give and get energy, then it's tremendous.
Yeah. But you can't do that all by yourself. You have to trust your managers, your organisation, work through them. And that's how you...
Of course. You have to have an alignment. I mean, you must realise one person doesn't do it. You need a strong team. And as a leader, you've got to pick the right people and let the people do their jobs. And of course, that's always challenging for someone like myself who wants to be involved in everything. But getting the right people who can do the job is critical. But you must all be aligned.
So there's an important balance, I suppose, then between control and in some way trust people to control it themselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
And a fine line between what I call delegation and abdication. Delegation is when you trust your people, you give them the opportunity to do things. Abdication is when you do that, but then you go and play golf there, and you've got to still be there to support them there.
Yeah, and delegation, as I see it, there's one important division line is that you can't only delegate the responsibility, you also have to delegate the mandate to act and do things. Right.
Absolutely. And you've got to be there as a boss to help them do things. You've got to be there as the manager and leader to help them do things.
So that they know that they can trust you,
absolutely.
that you will be there.
One thing I always said is no one wins without the aerial superiority, and I think that's the same in a business. You need that aerial superiority, that you need the support from above, but you need to be able to do the job yourself.
Right. So that's the manager's role. But when you were looking to hire or promote managers, what are the most important qualities of people that you look for?
Yeah, you look
in people.
Yeah, I think you look at. I used to measure people and follow people up on the what and the how. Not the why was not in there. What they achieved and how they achieved it. And that's what you're looking for as well. You're looking for the right chemistry for the people in the team that have the competence, which is the what, but have the how, which is the social skills, the business skills, the ability to operate within your values there. And it doesn't mean to say you want people exactly like you. In fact, you don't. You want people that complement what you do, but don't do exactly the same as you. And how many organisations do you see where a manager surrounds himself with people who are like-minded, who are like them?
Right.
And that's not good. You need people who are different in an organisation.
So you need that heterogeneity. Yeah. So you need to create creative teams in a sense. And you were, I think, a very strong leader in many ways. People knew who you were very visible, you were there. But I mean, beyond you then, if you were so important, do you see that you could build the system being autonomous without you, in a sense, as a person?
I mean, we must realise I didn't, with an organisation that size, it's impossible to do it all yourself. So I had some fantastic division presidents, and that was their role, was to do that there. And they ran their business and drove their business. I mean, so you need to have good, strong people round about you so that they can drive and do things, but you have a clear alignment. And that's important. You have an alignment as to what you want to achieve all the way through, and a red thread through it, but then the organisation can do it.
Because there's at this moment, as you know, the CEOs are sometimes pretty short-lived, and that's why I was kind of leaning into that question, because it takes time, I guess, for every organisation to get used to the way you or any other manager would like it to work. So that I think I was trying to think about it along those lines, that it takes time to build great companies.
Absolutely. It takes time. It takes time, and I think you've got to utilise the strength of the organisation. And let's be quite honest, people don't normally like change. The only person that likes change is a baby with a wet diaper.
Yeah.
So from that viewpoint, if they don't like change, you've got to find a way to make it something that they can relate to, and that's how you do things. People will accept the change.
Right. So that connects your reasoning, I guess. Then it's you need to get a drive for that change, so that people really want to do it.
Yes,
absolutely. So it's about wanting to.
They may not like it. I mean, for example, I go back when you went into September 2008, Lehman Brothers crisis. We faced the biggest downturn in the business. I think in 2009 our production in SKF was down roughly 1/3 compared to 2008, which meant we had to do things differently. But by clear communication, clear priorities, working with the people, they may not like the downturn, they may not like the fact we had short time working, but they understood why, because we did it with respect for them as individuals.
Right. Another thing that I was thinking of is that companies like SKF, for example, at the inception, when the company was born, so to say, the levels of innovation was extremely high. Those guys were really risk-taking, they were innovative, they were breaking new grounds, they had all new ideas, and then companies seemed to kind of get out of that and into some very uninnovative periods. How can we try to avoid that in today's companies?
I think in any companies you go through cycles of time. It's also related to the industry you're in, the business you're in there. What you've got to do as leaders, as managers, is to create the environment for entrepreneurship, and that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But it also create not only the environment and reward recognition, but the money to be able to let people try out new ideas and allow certain ideas to be able to be tried out, even if they're high risk of failure. Let them try them out. It's important.
I've seen that somewhere, that the easiest way to measure the willingness of a or an organization to embrace innovation is the tolerance of failure. So have you embraced that?
Yes.
Have your organizations been?
Yeah, I think it's a valid point you put there. And we used to run a program where we had an innovation board that I chaired with the CTOs and the division presidents, and there we were looking at high risk, high reward projects, and some of them didn't work. So you kill them and you move on to the next one there. But I think people knowing that they get the chance to at least explore it and do it means you get creativity from the organisation. So you've got to be willing to accept failure, but at the same time, if you're only getting failure, then you have a problem. Yeah.
Today you have taken somewhat of a even higher perspective to companies. You're a member of many boards and you're working as an advisor, of course. When you have taken that role, so that you have even broader perspective than being CEO of such a big organization, do you have your perspectives changed, or do you still work along the same lines? So have you seen anything, different when you have moved up even further in perspectives?
It's interesting. I mean, one of the things, if you've been an operative CEO, to move to that, to be a chairman, you have got to change how you operate, because no longer can you dig into the detail the way you do. And to be quite honest, that was I found it quite a challenge to move from being an operative CEO to being a
Did
chairman.
You like it?
I absolutely love it. Yeah. But I think the relationship between the chairman and the CEO becomes very, very important, as it was for myself. I was fortunate to work with two fantastic chairmen, with Anders Sharp and Leif Östling there, and I learned a lot from them. So you like it and you like what you're doing there, but it's a different role. You've got to be able to step back a little bit, even more, and to be able to try and make sure the right things are being addressed in an organisation through the CEO.
Oh yeah. As a personal question, which role do you find the most challenging one?
The chairman role.
The chairman role?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, can't really roll your sleeves up and go out and help the troops there. You're a little bit, you need to support the CEO. I'm enjoying it, thoroughly enjoying it, but it is a more challenging role.
There's this idea in business development and strategy called shaping, the way that you over the years you actually shape your own ideas and models, and you reuse them, but you of course continuously improve them. And if I read you right, if I hear you right, you say that basically for you in your work it has been this thing of connecting the why with the what and the how.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that is something for many out there to carry forward. I think that's an important message. But if you would, I don't know if you thought about it, but if you would carry something even more personal perhaps to those great business developers and becoming CEOs and managers, and for perhaps even board members out there, what would be your that piece of advice from Tom Johnstone?
Remember that as you're going up in an organisation, remember how you treat people on the way up, because you'll meet them again on the way down again. So my view and my philosophy, treat others the way you wish to be treated yourself, and you will get the best out of your organisation. You will get the organisation engaged. Have a clear message for them, what you want to do, why you want to do it, but treat them the way you wish to be treated yourself. Then you will get the best out of your team.
And to me that are impressive words, because as I was at business school, I read the book of Lee Iacocca, who made the big turnaround at Chrysler. And he was always portrayed as the cowboy, the hard man, the tough guy. And when I see the real successful ones, I see very brilliant minds, but also humble in facing the challenges of being a great manager. And I'm so very happy that you took the time, which I see as a proof of just the same, that you took the time to share your thoughts with those who would like to be inspired. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Jag är jätteglad att du har tittat på Studio Cordial och jag hoppas att du har blivit inspirerad. Lajka och dela om du gillar det du sett. Kommentera och för fram dina åsikter så låter vi dialogen fortsätta. Och om du har önskemål eller tips på personer som du tycker ska komma hit, så låt oss veta det också, så ska vi se till att de gör det.